Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first K-12 Peer Advice Forum, What's Working for IT and Security Teams. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us, and I hope you get some valuable insights and valuable tactics from today's webinar. So my name is Sarita Baines. I'm the Director of Product Management here at Absolute, and I focus on all of our education customers like yourselves. I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker today, Eric Ramos, the Chief Technology Officer, the CTO at Duarte Unified School District. Hi, Eric. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Good morning. Thank you.
So here's our agenda. Our webinar today is about 45 minutes. We'll spend about half an hour with a discussion between Eric and myself, and then we'll leave about 15 minutes at the end for any of your questions, which we're more than happy to answer. So Eric's going to start by giving us an introduction to Duarte Usd, and then talk us through really your COVID-19 response, how you protected and engaged with students when the pandemic started. We'll then talk about some of your observations from the education space, your key learnings. I'm sure you've had several, and then your thoughts on how to prepare for the new school year. And then finally, like I mentioned, we'll end with some of our audience questions. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, Eric, I'll let you take it from here. I'd love to hear about some of the details from your school district.
Sounds good. So yeah, Duarte Unified it's located just east of Los Angeles. If you're familiar with Southern California, a little further east than Pasadena and Arcadia. We're a small district, roughly about 3,400 students, currently 400 staff, faculty members in the district. So we're small, but yet we're mighty. We are a K-8, and then we've got the high school as well, in addition to our continuation school. So we offer everything, if you will. We have luckily started our one-to-one program years ago, and we have just recently, last year, expanded that to our 6 through 12 take-home. So all of our 6 through 12th grade students are given a Chromebook. They're taking it home back and forth. So using the absolute control is key to kind of keep track of those items as they are an investment for our district. We also have a mix of different demographic of our students, our socioeconomic status of our students. So overall in our district, we're a little over 80% free and reduced lunch, but yet we do service a part of the city that definitely has means, and then we have others. So all those students are kind of mixed in the same schools, in the same high school, and that provides great opportunity for these students to kind of mingle and to interact, similar to what they would see once they reach the college level. So excited to have that. Also wanted just to implement that we hope to have Chromebooks K through 12. So the K through 5th graders should have them hopefully in the next 3 years. And so we're kind of slowly trickling down and making sure those students had it. Now in this given environment, we're trying to speed that process up a little bit faster than we would have, given the environment that we have. So
Sure. It sounds very similar to the path lots of folks have, that you might have been on the path to one-to-one, and now you're in acceleration mode.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, great. So you want to talk us through the pandemic and your response, and love just to hear about your overall experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So right away, we had some challenges, as many districts around did. We were a little bit on the lucky side where when this COVID challenge came up, we were just about to start spring break. So we had an extra week to basically plan it and get prepared. But our biggest concern was our K through 5 students, who typically would have laptops and not Chromebooks, but window devices in carts in their classrooms. Well, we needed to identify first who needed information, or I should say technology, and also did they have connectivity at home, right? There's not much you can do without that. And so we quickly send out surveys to get information, to gather that information. Also, we needed to make sure that they could connect to their teachers. What platform were they using to communicate? Again, did they have internet connectivity? Structuring that time when to connect and to speak to their teachers and classmates. And then on the flip side, for our staff members, although we've been one-to-one and we've been pushing hard a lot of ed tech programs and software, we still needed to get all of our teachers up and running with with that information and with that training. Teachers were accustomed to doing it their way in their classroom. They could always rely on, their practice in the classroom. But now this was a whole different world, a different environment, and so we really were trying to figure out what are the best ways to meet those challenges. I can speak a little bit about the first few bullet points here. So to try to get this information out, again, we did the survey, try to identify those families. We reached out to our teachers to reach out to their own parents as they had the best communication, and quickly identified those who needed it. We asked that parents stop by, kind of a drive-through kind of situation, and if they needed some kind of technology, whether it was a laptop or a hotspot, we basically just pulled them out of the carts, made sure that they were ready to go, and handed them out. We didn't worry too much about documenting too much. We just did a simple spreadsheet. We later could then update that in our inventory system. As far as hotspots, we were lucky enough to have some on hand, but not enough to fulfill everyone. And as you can imagine, this issue is worldwide and for us nationwide. So when we were reaching out to our vendors to say, hey, can I get a few more? Well, guess what? You're on the list of hundreds of other districts that want the same. And so I was quick to jump on that. I realized that was going to be an issue, but we had been prior to this, we had been surveying our families and trying to get that information out. But now it's less of a 6 through 12 issue. Now it's a K through 12 issue. So we went ahead and ordered some hotspots, and it was a little bit of a delay, but we eventually got them into the hands of parents and students. And we made sure not to collect those over the summer because we wanted to have those students have that connectivity, whether they were going to take summer school or not, still have that ability to connect with others. So that was big for us. A couple other things that I'll talk about is understanding our teacher, our staff, how are they going to communicate? And so right away, we started creating our own webinars, if you will, trainings on how to use Google Meets, creating FAQ forms, providing, step-by-step, this is how you do this. And then eventually I just created a website for just our teachers saying, hey, if you need help with this, here's how to do this. And it was a living document, it still is. We're still adding, as questions come up, emails or just speaking, we'll add that in because then we can help others quickly, right? We can point others to, well, have you checked this out and provide that information for our teachers. We created that same type of document for our families and students, and then another website. And again, this was kind of on the fly. So this was, just throwing whatever we can on there that would make sense, but not overwhelming families or teachers with too much information, just the most pertinent information. And then using the absolute web usage was helpful because we could easily take a look at a week's worth of data and saying, okay, this is where our students are on. Do our teachers, do they have enough working knowledge to really emphasize this? Or on the flip side here, these are the programs that we're paying for and they're only getting this much usage. Should we now revisit this idea and provide documentation or guides or links for our teachers to really maximize that? And so we try to fine tune it, right? There's so many different programs out there. Here are the few that we want you to use. Here's the training on this. And then obviously, offer ourselves up if needed to do a little bit of more small group teaching for our teachers and parents. So that was really big for us to make sure it was successful, basically from March through May.
That's a lot to do in a short amount of time. It sounds like that training component was really fundamental. And it's interesting that you mentioned training of teachers to use the technology, but also the support and training for parents. That's really interesting to hear. So how did you prioritize what to train your teachers on? We done an independent survey recently and have found that based on that survey, about 65% of teachers had some degree of technical difficulty with moving to the remote learning model. So how did you decide on what do you train them on in what order?
Yeah, so our